Hello everyone, I am Josh and welcome to this Sims 4 house building video. Now today I am building a modern house called A Slice of Paradise because I thought it was a cool name. And this house ends up being a very interesting house, mainly because of its shape. So I wanted to incorporate some diagonals into this house. As you can see here, the right side of the house is mostly on diagonal, and the rest is, a normal shape. Well, I guess it's not a normal shape, but it's not diagonal. And, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to incorporate some diagonals into a build, because I haven't done that yet. So, yeah, here you go. Well, actually, I have, actually. The house angles use a lot of diagonals, but nevertheless, I wanted to do it again. So, as you can see here, it's not going to be a huge house, but it's decently sized. It ends up being 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and you can definitely see the diagonals going on here, especially in the front and right side of the house. It's pretty much all on the diagonal, which made the rooms slightly weird shapes, but it turned out pretty cool. I thought it was definitely interesting. It's not your normal house, which is what I was going for. So we've pretty much finished the shape already, and I was just looking at some fences, but I ended up going with half walls in the end. And yeah, so with the colors on this house, I kind of went a little bit on the more conservative side. It's only some gray brick and some white stucco with some blue siding, which you'll see when we get to it. But I think that's a little ways away. You can see I put some actually no, never mind, we're doing it right now. Wow, okay, that's a surprise. Anyway, you can see the white stucco coming on right now, and there's the brick, which I was going to do red brick, but I didn't think it looked good, so I ended up going with the gray brick. And yeah, once I put all the gray brick and the white stucco on, then I realized it was looking really bland, so I decided to incorporate some blue siding, which you'll see when we get to it. So you can see a lot of brick going on here. Just kind of putting it on all of the main parts of the house, and I used the white stucco as an accent. The only issue was it just looked very bland, as you can see here. There's nothing too interesting about it at this point, but I'll spice it up a bit. Also adding in these wood kind of, I don't know what you call them, like they're kind of like trellis things. You can see they're right there below the, on the ground there. I don't know, I thought they were interesting. Also, struggling to type in a cheat there, that took a while. Yeah, but also you can see here I'm putting a palm tree kind of in that glass walled in section, a glass fenced in section, I guess is the way you'd say it. I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting because they had that little notch there that I thought just was perfect for a tree. Here I'm putting in windows and some more of those little trellis things that are on the floor, so they're not really trellises, I don't really know. I thought they were interesting. I did that in one of my previous houses too. I thought it was kind of a neat idea. But yeah, so you can see here the house is quite a weird shape due to the diagonals, so you'll see when we get to furnishing and the floor plan, it gets a little challenging to make it work, but I do end up adding a bit onto the back of the house, so I was able to fit in 3 bedrooms, because otherwise it was a little cramped. There's also a small 3rd level, which ends up being part of a 2-story study, so the kind of study slash bonus room ends up covering 2 floors, the 2nd and 3rd floor, which I thought was pretty neat. So you got like a little extra space up there, so if you download the house you could make it into pretty much whatever you want it to be, since I didn't really put too much up there. Yeah, anyway, putting in a pool, you can see a very interesting shaped pool with some diagonals in it to go along with the shape of the house. When it came to roofing, I did the roof and then I kind of got rid of it and redid it later on because I wasn't so happy with it. So you can see for now it's just that one section, or actually I was going to add another section, but I decided not to. So the roof ends up being kind of half pitched and half flat, which you'll see later on. I think it turns out pretty well though. I do not go with a golden roof. As you can see here it's gold, but I do change it to a kind of gray color, which I think looks a lot better. Yeah, adding in some roof trim here, you can see just around the edges. Just the lowest half wall size, because I really like that low half wall. It like works perfectly for trim, like to go around roofs and stuff, because otherwise, I don't know, there's not a really good fence in the game for that kind of thing, like we had in The Sims 3, so, it works well. Yeah, so adding in a patio here, I had a little trouble choosing the material I wanted to use, because I wanted it to match the house, and that kind of stone really did not match the house. So, I went through a whole bunch of choices. I'm not really sure what I settled on. I think I went for a stone of some sort, or maybe a concrete, Or no, wait, is that one? Yeah, it's that stone, so I think it looks pretty good. Putting in some doors and windows on this side of the house. As you can see, a lot of balconies on this house. All the bedrooms do have an outdoor space, which is pretty nice. And you can see here I'm just adding on to the back of the house, so I was able to fit in a third bedroom and a master bathroom, which is a nice a nice addition to have. So there you go. And when I did that, then I decided to redo the roof a little later on. Here I'm adding in some color with this siding from Spa Day. It's kind of like this wood, horizontal wood paneling, which I thought was pretty nice. It added some color to the back of the house, because otherwise it was just really bland, so there you go. Also adding in some more trim along the top of the roof, of course, just to make it a little less boring. And also going to work on the roof a bit now, I think, because it just wasn't looking the way I wanted it to, and it was kind of annoying. So yeah, you can see I was having a little trouble here getting it to work right, especially because of that diagonal part in that corner. If you can see, it's kind of, the roof is sticking out weirdly, so I had to work with that. Yeah, anyway, I'm trying to make this whole roof section one room, which I think I did, but it took a little while. It was a little messy because of the way the room system works. It's a little annoying, but got it to work out in the end. And yeah, there we go. So I just made it all one room, so the whole roof is one room, which makes a little bit more sense instead of like it all being separated up into little bits. So at this point, I was gonna go with a full flat roof, but I didn't like it so much. So here you can see I'm redoing the peaked part, and I end up doing that on the diagonal part and then just a normal straight piece. So, you know, it looks pretty nice. It ends up being, you know, as you can see, half, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like half of it is a roof and half is flat roof. So I thought that looked pretty good, or peaked roof, that's the word. So, you know. And I do put a nice concrete on the roof. As you can see, I'm doing that here. And, you know, I think the roof turned out pretty nicely. It's an interesting mix. And you can also see I got rid of that hideous gold because that was just making no sense. And yeah, now we're moving to the interior floor plan. So in this small little addition, I just added a third bedroom and a master bathroom. So, you know, the second floor has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and the first floor has 1 bedroom and a bathroom, so it works pretty well. It's pretty spread out, which is nice. You can see there's the first floor plan you saw briefly there. I think I finished that much earlier. I also put a small fountain out front by this palm tree, so you can see it's like a little funky shaped fountain. I thought it was kind of interesting. Also a nice tree there. Not too many trees because this is the desert after all, so there's only a few palm trees and then that one tree in the front there. So, and I also end up putting some grass on the lot too to make it, the plants look like they're not just growing out of the sand, because that really would make no sense. But we'll get to that when we get to landscaping. I'm still working on windows here. I like those arched windows. I think they look really cool. You can see I used a couple of them. And now we're actually moving on to landscaping sooner than I thought. And you can see just some minimal plants, not too over the top like I usually do. So just a few here and there. Also some more trellis thingies on the floor. Yeah, so it's a pretty simple landscape. I didn't want to overdo it because it is the desert, so it wouldn't really make sense to have so many plants. So you can see just a few accents where the trees are, especially. I wanted to have some, you know, so, you know, it's pretty simple. Putting in some grass here, I went with the kind of, I don't know, it's like a more, like not such a vibrant shade of grass because it's supposed to be like a more dried out grass. So I used that around the place to make the plants look like they were actually growing on something, so they weren't just like growing out of the sand, which would be kind of weird. So you can see I'm blending the grass into the sand, and I also put some dirt under the plants, obviously, because that makes sense. And, you know, I thought the terrain paint looked pretty cool. It added an interesting touch. If you look at the houses on either side, they don't actually have grass. I guess the plants are just supposed to be growing out of the sand. And I guess if you have desert plants, that makes sense, but I don't know. It seemed a little weird to me, so I thought the grass looked nicer. Now we're moving on to the interior by the looks of things, putting in an archway and some doors so your Sims can get around, which is always useful. So yeah, plenty of doors. And yeah, now we're moving to what appears to be the living room area. So the entrance and living room area, as you can see, is a very weird shaped room because of that diagonal cut into the room for the front door. But I thought it looked pretty cool in the end because it kind of sectioned off the room pretty well. Which you'll see once we get to it, because of course I'm not doing it now. Instead, I believe we start with the kitchen because, yeah, so we'll get to the living room later. So the kitchen is interesting. I was originally going to make it kind of snake around the wall like that, as you can see, and then decided against it. And I went with some nice black cabinets with some white counters, just a very simple color scheme. And I don't believe I do have an island, but it doesn't go like that, because I do put most of the kitchen against the other wall. So you'll see that, yeah, it definitely does not turn out like that, because it really was not a good use of the space. So I ended up putting the kitchen against this wall here. I wasn't too happy with the way the cabinets were up against the floor-to-ceiling windows, but it doesn't look too bad, so I went with it. And as you can see here, putting in some nice tall cabinets for the refrigerator, and putting in some more cabinets for over the counters, also with some nice glass-covered ones for some dishes. And we have a little oven there, and you know, it's not a huge kitchen, but it's a decent size. Also putting in a dishwasher, my first house ever to include a dishwasher. That's pretty exciting. And yeah, also putting in some bar stools. These are the first objects I've ever used from Luxury Party Stuff, the first stuff pack that came out for the game like months and months ago. Yeah, those blue bar stools, but I do change to black. That's the first item I've ever used from that pack, so that's interesting. There we go, I just changed them to black. And also we have some terracotta tile on the floor, which I thought was a nice touch. And I'm putting in some backsplash there, and some shelving, which I thought this was pretty cool. We have some corner shelving that kind of comes off the cabinet there and wraps around over the window. I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool, so, you know, it's a little extra detail, and I put a plant on there as well. And yeah, also I'm putting a bamboo plant in the corner there, some lighting, and, you know, it's a pretty simple kitchen. It's not too detailed or over the top, but I really like the way it turned out. It's very simple and modern looking, so I was happy with the way it looks. And now we're moving on to the adjacent dining room, which you can see uses my favorite glass chairs. So they're probably not glass, that would be bad. Probably plastic chairs, but they're still really cool looking. And yeah, I really like that little dining area. I like the rug that's under the table. I just discovered that rug has like a bunch of colorful options that I didn't know existed, so I use a pink and lime green version of that rug in the bedroom, one of the bedrooms upstairs, which you'll see. But you know, I thought it was pretty cool. Also, use some paintings that you can only get in the game. I think if your Sims paint them, you can access all like the hidden objects by using the cheat. I think it's bb.show hidden objects or something like that. And you know, I used a couple paintings from that. I thought it was pretty neat. Never done that before. And putting in a nice little plant on the table, a bowl of fruit, of course, and a little mat in the kitchen, because, you know, the tile flooring might be cold, who knows. And yeah, just adding a little brick accent there on the bathroom. I thought that was pretty neat. And just a few more details like a bookshelf and a plant and a painting, you know, make it look nice and lived in. Also putting in some curtains on the windows, you know, just so if you want privacy, you can have it. I didn't put any in the kitchen though, but, you know, you don't need them in the kitchen. Let's have them in the dining room. Also a side table here, so, you know, you could have side table things on it, like a seashell sculpture of some kind, and some tissues, and painting of butterflies, and some books. There you go. That's pretty much the dining room. I put a couple mirrors on the wall, kind of intersect them in a way to make it look like it's like I don't know, a unique design of some kind. And now we're finally moving on to the living room, and as you can see, as I was saying before, that kind of angled or diagonal indent kind of separates the entrance from the living room, which I thought was pretty neat. You know, so you can see we have the fireplace, a nice little sitting area, a lot of brick on the walls, but I thought it looked pretty cool. And there's the TV. You know, it was a pretty interesting room. I don't usually make rooms that are such weird shapes, so it was kind of a fun challenge to furnish it, and I think it turned out pretty well. Anyway, here's the entrance. You can see I just put some tile on the floor there. Also, I used those kind of interesting columns to go on either side of the fireplace. I thought it was a nice touch. And I was going to put a fish tank in the living room, but there wasn't any room, so I think it ends up going on the third floor of the study. But I guess we'll find out together. And another mirror on the wall, so you can check how you look before you leave the house or something. And a shoe rack and a coat rack and all other little knickknacks and paddywhacks, whatever I could find that would be appropriate. So just putting some clutter items there on that table, you know, like going through all the clutter categories. and putting a stereo system in, a little bookshelf, and a couple bookshelves. Oh wait, no, just one bookshelf, and a little rug, and that's pretty much the living room. I thought it turned out pretty nicely. Again, it's not too over the top, but I think it looks nice and elegant. And we're just gonna do the small first floor bathroom real quick. As you can see, again, it's a weird shaped room. It's kind of like a pentagon. It's 5-sided. Slightly weird, but it works, you know. Got a toilet, sink, and a shower, so gets the job done. And some small details, and a little mat on the floor. And yeah, so just a simple bathroom. Oh, I did put some curtains in the kitchen, but not in the large windows. Anyway, this is the downstairs bedroom, which ends up being kind of a teen's boys' room or something. So you can see we have a dark color scheme, and what's nice about this bedroom is it actually opens up right out onto the pool, which is a fancy feature. Ooh, the 2 words start with F. Anyway, putting some posters on the wall, as you can see, quite a lot of them. I wanted to make it kind of look like a collage of posters or something, so you can see, put a bunch of them over the bed, and there's also a large one on the other wall. And you know, we have a dresser, a mirror. I also put a desk with a computer on it as well, which you can see is right there. You know, so it's a pretty small room, but it turned out pretty nicely. And again, it's a weird shape because of the diagonal, so you can see it's a very weird shape. It's like a, I don't know, 6-sided room, so kind of an interesting shape, but it turned out pretty well. And you know, adding in some clutter items, some other decorative details, and yeah, so that's pretty much that bedroom finished, adding in some lighting. And then I think we're going to move upstairs, which is pretty exciting. Oh, also some more posters on the wall because had to finish that off, and there you go. So now we're moving to the second floor, and this is just the landing, and that's going to be the 3rd floor of the study. I wanted to kind of have it open up to the downstairs, but because this is The Sims 4, of course it couldn't do that without glitching the roof out, so I had to abandon that. Yeah, so this is the landing area, so we just have another side table. Quite a lot of those in this house. You know, it adds a nice detail. And a guitar. Also added a little more clutter to the bedroom downstairs. And, you know, pretty simple landing. Also put a rug in. Not too much stuff up here, but again, it's just a landing. I don't know really what you'd put there. And yeah, now we're going to be moving on to the study room. That's a weird way to say it, but the office. I guess you could call it the office with a bonus room on top or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's quite a lot of bookshelves in here. You can see just lining that wall, so if you want to grab a book, you can do that. And we also have an L-shaped desk with a computer with 3 monitors. I use the small TVs to kind of make it look like there's extra monitors there, so, you know, looks kind of interesting. Also another one of those plastic chairs, because I really like those, and a small sitting area. And yeah, it's a pretty simple room. I also got an orange rug in here to add some color. And another bookshelf, of course, just have plenty of bookshelves. I was going to have another bookshelf, but I replaced it with a sofa because it made a little bit more sense. Also, a piece of llama wow, I jumbled that one up, didn't I? A piece of llama pop art on the wall by the couch, as you can see. You know, so you can view that while you're sitting, or you could be reading, you know. And small crate in the corner, because why not? And yeah, so pretty simple room. And now we're going to move on to the 3rd floor area. So this is the kind of bonus area. And it just got some more bookshelves, a fish tank, a couch. And I also put that gaming thing that the game has. It's like a immersive gaming experience thing where you just sim like walks onto it and I don't know, it's like physically moving the parts. I don't really know what it is. Anyway, you see, I saw it in like the trailer of the game when it came out last year, but whatever. I never used it, so I threw it in here. There it is. It's just, you know, whatever. It filled the space pretty well, and I've never used it before, so maybe your Sims could have some fun with that. Who knows? Anyway, moving on to the master bedroom, which is pretty much directly above the downstairs bedroom. It's pretty much the same shape, though slightly different. It has a balcony because, you know, it's a nice feature to have. It looks out over the pool. This bedroom has a more simple color scheme. It's just gray and blue, I'm pretty sure, with a bit of orange. It's kind of like gray, blue, and orange, which is a nice color scheme. We got another dresser there, and a mirror, and a small sitting area, of course, with some blue chairs. I actually really like those chairs. They came with Spa Day, and they're like a really nice, simple, modern seat, you know? And they're slightly different than the ones that came with the base game, so they're kind of worth using. So, you know, I think they're pretty nice. And a small painting and some details on that table. Put some more artwork on either side of the bed. and of course a rug, which is nice and white. So it's a very simple, clean bedroom. And yeah, so that's pretty much the master bedroom. And now we're going to move on to the master bathroom, which is also pretty nice. As you can see, it's a very large bathroom. Definitely much bigger than the one downstairs. And also, unlike pretty much every other room in this house, it's a normal shape. It's a rectangle, which made it a breeze to furnish. So we have a double sink here, and a tub and a shower and a toilet, everything that you'd expect. And I did make everything black in this bathroom for some reason. I don't know, I thought it kind of had a cool look. So there you go, black and gray. And yeah, pretty simple, nice bathroom. I did want to put the robe that hangs on a hook somewhere, but there wasn't any room, so I was a little disappointed about that, but not a big deal. So that's the master suite finished, and adding a column to the stairs downstairs. And now we're moving on to the final bedroom, which ends up being a girl's room, or I guess it could be a teen girl's room, or whatever you want it to be. I mean, if you download the house, you could change any room you want into whatever you want it to be, so yeah, it's a pretty small room. I wish it could be bigger. I guess you could make it bigger if you got rid of that angled part to it. It'd probably make more sense, but it does have a really large balcony off of it, so that works. Yeah, so it's a pretty simple gray and pink color scheme. So you got nice posters on the wall there, the Plumb Bob pop art, and you know, some drawings and an art easel outside. So I guess if you want to go outside on that balcony, you can go paint the landscape. It's probably a pretty nice view, so that's a good feature. And you know, just some small details, some toys and stuff. This is the room I do put that rug in. That is a very shocking color, but it actually went pretty well. Some more posters and some curtains just to finish it off. And there's the rug, and as you can see, quite a lot of colors, and there is the pink, and it's got like a seafoam green to it. Very interesting rug there. Also some seating out on the balcony, so you know, if you want to go out and sit, you can sit out there. And also some seating on the master bedroom's balcony as well. And now we're going to move on to the backyard, and as you can see, putting in some details to the pool. And I do fence it in and put a small seating area and a grill outside, so you know, if your Sims want to hang out outside, they can do that. There's the fence, and one glitch with the fence I had is when I enclosed it, it obviously made the backyard a room, but then it glitched the pool out in a really annoying way. As you can see, like the floor tiles are going over the pool, and there was nothing I could do to fix it. Like even getting rid of the pool and like rebuilding it, it just like wouldn't fix it. It was so infuriating. So what I ended up doing was like removing a little small piece of the fence so it wasn't actually a room, and put a plant there to kind of, you know, make it look like it was, you know, fully fenced in. So that was really annoying, but yeah, so as you can see there, I just got rid of that piece of fence, and I ended up putting a plant there just to block off the end. So there you go, that fixed the problem. And yeah, so adding in a grill and a small seating area with an umbrella over it, you know, just so you can sit outside and eat if you want to. And yeah, so we're pretty much finishing up with this video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd greatly appreciate it if you check out my channel. I make loads more videos like this one, and some screenshots after this, so it'd be great if you stuck around for those. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye everyone!